Everyone. In this, we will understand about sampling design. First of all, what is sampling? It refers to the process of selecting a representative of individuals or units from a larger population for the purpose of conducting some analysis or some research. So that is basically sampling. Sampling design, the plan, what type of sample you are going to collect, how are you going to collect? That is basically sampling design. So you can also say sampling method. This design should be carefully planned and executed to ensure that the sample is representative and unbiased. Representative. So definitely the sample, whatever sample we are collecting, that should actually represent the actual population, what we are planning to do analysis. And it should be unbiased. Means the error between any population parameter we are measuring and the sample estimate, the error gap should be very less or very minimum. That is basically unbiased. There should not be any biasness while selecting the sample. So that will avoid. So if you randomly do it, this unbiasedness will be taken care of. The results of the study can be generalized to the larger population. That is our ultimatum. We want to, whatever we are concluding using the sample, based on the sample, that we are linking it with the population and we are trying to generalize to that particular population. That is our objective. Then some of the sampling designs commonly what we use are, basically we can classify them into two categories. One is probability sampling methods and non-probability sampling methods. Probability sampling designs, we have simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic sampling. Simple random sampling. It is basically like your lottery method. Suppose you want to do a selection of 10 houses from a street which has got 40 houses. You write those 40 door numbers like 0, 1, 0, 2 up to 40. Then you are putting a lottery, choosing first household, randomly one slip you are choosing, again another slip you are choosing. That is what you can say simple random sampling. This also can be done. Generally, that is done based on random numbers. If the population size is very less, then we can go for lottery method. Otherwise, we can go for random number generations. And from random numbers, we can do this sampling. That is basically your simple random sampling. The next one is stratified random sampling. What you do is, in this case, you divide the whole population into different stratas. Stratas means subgroups. You divide them into subgroups where you may find some homogeneity within the group and heterogeneity between the groups. So you try to segregate or divide the population in such a way that within the strata, there is homogeneity and between strata, there is heterogeneity. Then after that, what you do is you go to individual strata and do a random sampling in that. So that every group will have an opportunity to be a part of the sample. That is the whole idea about it. In cluster sampling, what we do, this is also you'll be dividing the whole population into subgroups. Each subgroup you call it as clusters, but here the major difference is within a cluster we will find a heterogeneity. Between clusters we will find a homogeneity. That is how we divide the population. Then after that, any of those clusters will be randomly chosen. Not one, more than one also. So for example, if there are 15 clusters, out of which we plan to select some 3 clusters, that 3 clusters will be randomly selected. Then the whole cluster will be reviewed or surveyed or interviewed like that. It will be done. That is basically cluster sampling. In systematic sampling, what we do, we identify the population size and then sample size. Let us say population size is capital N and sample size is small n. Then we calculate what is called as sampling interval, small k. And that small k is calculated as capital N divided by small n. So you get a sampling interval. So suppose if the sampling interval is, let us say 4, then what you do, you choose randomly from 1 to 4 some number. Let us say we get a 3, then the first same example will consider that 40 houses example. So you choose 1 to 4, sorry, you put a lottery for 1 to 4. Let us say you had chosen 3. That means the first household will become 3. Then the subsequent houses, you will not do anything. You will simply systematically add the sampling interval k, which is now 4, you will add that. For example, 4, how it came? 40 houses totally, 10 houses is the random sample size. So 40 divided by 10, we get 4. So you add that 4 to the 3 to get the second door number. So 3 plus 4, 7. Then 7 plus 4, 11. 11 plus 4, 15. Like that, you do the sampling. So that is your systematic sampling. Next one. Here we have convenience sampling, judgment sampling, quota sampling, snowball sampling. Convenience sampling, from the name itself, we can say it is purely based on the researcher's convenience. Sampling is being done. So based on its pure convenience. Suppose if the researcher is in Bangalore and he will choose sample from Bangalore only for doing a population of India, means he will consider completely the Bangalore as the representative of India, and he will conveniently choose sampling in Bangalore itself. That is convenient sampling. Judgment sampling. This is purely based on the researcher's judgment. Suppose if I need to select some 3 students for a competition out of 10 students, then what is that competition? I will understand if it is a painting competition or an art competition. Based on my experience, past experience, I know who will do better. So those 3 students I will try to choose, and based on my judgment, that sampling is being done. So here definitely you will not adopt any probability sampling because it is about competition. So quota sampling, here it will be similar to your stratified sampling, where you divide the whole population into some groups, maybe like age groups, youth, middle-aged, elders, like that you divide, and then each group you use either a judgment sampling or convenience sampling under each group, and then you select the sampling units. Snowball sampling, this also can be called as a referral sampling, wherein initially you may not have that many number of sampling units, maybe 1 or 2. Then you ask referrals from those people whom you had interviewed or surveyed. Then based on the referrals, you approach them again to do your further interviews or surveys. So that means slowly the sample size is getting increased. That is why you call this as a snowball sampling. So each of these sampling methodologies, that is simple random sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic sampling, convenience, judgment, quota, and snowball, all these are discussed in detail in my other video, the link of which I am sharing in the description. Let us move on further. Now, thing is, which sampling or choice of sampling design will depend on a variety of factors. It may depend on the research question, the size and the diversity of the population, and the available resources for the data collection. So it all depends upon what you are going to choose is depending upon your research question, what type of research you are doing, how much is the population size, what is the sample size you want, and how much the population is diversified, and then how much resources are available with you. All those are the factors which will affect what type of sampling design you are going to choose. So that is what is about sampling design.